Man, what an awesome video. I had to bring that back from the archives of my grief. It truly documented a season of my life in 2022 where I was trying to get back to my first love, my baby. It was 18 years of playing football. That's that's the same time span of how long it is to raise a child up into adulthood. I mean, maybe that varies a little bit depending on the maturity level of the child, but nonetheless, I was going through some pretty hardcore stages of grief. And football, listen, football, sports, athletics, it's like this embodiment of all the emotions. You're heightened to the tippy top of the way a person can express themselves. That's the way I feel when I play my sport, when I've played my sport, when I share my sport. It's all of those emotions wrapped in one. So many times the stages of grief for an athlete, for a military person, people who go through those intense seasons of commitment and dedication to body, soul, and spirit. Many times we encompass all the stages of grief in one season. And that's what happened with me. Well, thankfully, God allowed me to disperse it in 3 years, but I played 4 really good, amazing years with the Houston Texans. And then after that year, I went through terrible season of my own personal life. And then that fifth year, I was signed by the Denver Broncos. That was the COVID year. Okay, so they released me right before camp started. I was kind of free. I was a free agent for that whole year. I did some Jesus searching, trying to build a relationship with Him. Successful mission, and then the following year, the Detroit Lions picked me up. So all this time, I'm going through this process of grief. Will I ever get back to football? And I was angry, and I was in denial, and I was bargaining, and I was depressed, and I wasn't accepting that I would lose my baby, my child, what I had conceived and worked hard to express to the world. I wasn't accepting that I would lose such an important part of my life, and God walked me through it step by step, taking me to various different places and seasons in my life to meet various different people who helped me on my journey. And the video that you just watched is that very thing. It was a facility in Bloomington, or it was in Detroit, and it was a training facility for athletes and even recovering athletes through therapy. And I worked there for 4 or 5 months to get my body to the shape that it needed to be, but my knee could never recover. I had too much wear and tear, too much arthritic pain. I had an ACL tear, and it never seemed to, function properly. And I couldn't accept that. I had to keep finding ways, and that was the last season of my life that I just said, you know what, this is it. I'm going to look at all the bright spots in my life, having a wife, having my daughter on the way, all of these beautiful things I'm going to look at and begin to start focusing on in 2023. So this clip was the tail end of the experience that I went through. I want to do a kind of a documentary for the health of young people, young men, young women who are aspiring in sports to know how to rationalize their emotions when that time does come when you got to hang it up, when you can't play it, because we can. We can't do it forever. Our bodies are only capable of so much physical, psychological wear and tear, abuse. It is what it is. It's gritty. Sports are gritty. They're not for the faint of heart. And so that was that. So I hope this blessed you. Understand. Listen, like where I was at in that, it was 3 years of denial, anger, bargaining, and depression. Just now coming into a season of acceptance after 3 years of fighting my way in training and therapy and all the things to get to this place where I see the other side of life, a much brighter, more vibrant side of life where I can give back. I can give back to football, which I was able to do this year with a local high school that my head coach, my former head coach from high school, coaches at now. And we did some historical, incredible things. I was able to do chapel services on Fridays and pour into the lives of young men who were aspiring to be where one day, where I was, and one day, hopefully, Lord willing, they will be. So I'm done talking now. You got the gist of it. Wherever you are in your season, it could be even work related. It doesn't have to be your sport. Wherever you are, recognize those 5 stages of grief and process it. Allow God to help you to process the timing and all the things that go along with it. That's all I got. Peace and love.